Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, everybody. This is the Locked On Predators podcast. I'm Nick Morgan. I'm a writer and editor at ontheforecheck.com, and I have a partner in crime.
You do. I am Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer at ontheforecheck.com.
This is Saturday. We don't normally do a podcast on Saturday, but we have something to talk about this morning. We have come prepared, and that is Filip Forsberg is apparently coming back to Nashville. First reported by Don Davenport, later confirmed by Elliotte Friedman, and then reported by the team itself. And
yes,
let's cheers to finally putting this to bed, shall we?
Cheers
Right,
to Filip
cheers to
Forsberg.
You've got your wine. I've got my Fireball.
Oh, it's good, even on a Saturday morning.
Yep. I'm sure this is going to be first of many today because there's a soccer game I'm going to later today, and there's usually some pregame involved with that. More excuse to get hyped now. So yeah,
that's right.
Big news. We're coming with you live from a special podcast right now that the Nashville Predators have reportedly agreed to terms with Filip Forsberg. That was the language they used. According to Don Davenport, it was an 8-year deal worth about $8.5 million AAV, averages about $70 million total. Elliotte Friedman reported that. And then Nashville Predators tweeted out that they have agreed to terms with Filip Forsberg. Elliotte Friedman added, maybe the funnest tidbit of the day. Filip Forsberg has not officially signed yet because he is at his bachelor party. So yeah,
Salute,
if there wasn't
Phil.
enough hype going on there, there definitely is now. I feel like Filip Forsberg may be, even though it's his bachelor party, may be able to foot the bill on this.
Yes, I think he's going to come out of this okay, do a couple extra shots, gentlemen. I think Phil has got it. This is actually a fantastic deal all the way around. It keeps Filip Forsberg here in Nashville, which I think for the entire Nashville Predators fan base was absolutely key. But it also financially keeps the Predators in a pretty decent space, because if you look at Filip Forsberg's numbers and you look at what is available on the free agency market right now, I think Filip Forsberg could have garnered a much higher paycheck somewhere else. So this is a great deal all the way around, and thank goodness it got done.
Yeah. Well, I think it also now gives the Predators kind of a fresh start heading into free agency.
Yes.
Because that's the thing with Filip Forsberg. We've talked about this whenever we've done kind of a what if podcast, when we've looked at maybe some potential free agent options, potential trade. We all said the same thing. It's going to come down to what happens with Filip Forsberg. You need to know if he is going to be part of that core long-term, because that is going to drastically change how you approach this offseason and maybe how you feel about the window this team has to still be competitive. Because that's the thing. They've been knocked out of the first round of the playoffs 4 years in a row now. Everybody's fed up with that. I get that. But there is still a window for this team.
Yes.
There's obviously Roman Josi. We saw what he did last year. UC Saros, one of the best goalies in the NHL. We saw the big years that Matt Duchene and Filip Forsberg had. There is a window for this team. It's not like they're just buried in dead contracts full of guys who are underachieving or getting old. There is a window there. And I think with Filip Forsberg locked in, now David Poile can go out and be like, okay, you know what? This is done. Now let's see what other moves we can make to extend this window. Maybe take them from being a perennial fringe team like they've been the past couple of years.
Yes.
And maybe make some moves that make this team competitive, both for the next couple of years, maybe make them a little bit younger going forward long term. But that first domino needed to fall, and that was Forsberg.
Absolutely. With Forsberg signed, free agency is going to look a little different and a little clearer for David Poile, and that is key. He's already begun to make some really important moves, I think, that Nashville needed to make. For instance, bringing in Ryan McDonough, I think, was a very important piece to shore up some defense. We found out yesterday that Luke Cunnin has been traded to the San Jose Sharks. So there is now space on that second line for David Poile to go out and maybe do a little second line winger shopping, which would be really important for this team. And I agree with you. There is a core to build around with this team. You've got Tanner Jeannot, you have Yakov Trenin, who they need to offer sheet. You've got Phil Tomasino. Like, there is a decent core and some young players where this could potentially put Nashville in a position to see some growth in results short term. So this is a fantastic move. David Poile has earned himself a bit of a reprieve from the fan doghouse. A bit. I said just a bit. A little bit of reprieve. A little bit of a reprieve.
Let's not go that far.
Well, I think had Poile not signed Forsberg, if Forsberg would have left in free agency, that would have been the end for David Poile. I think that would have been sort of the unforgivable hockey sin here in Nashville. This is so important for David Poile. This signing is so important for the Predators. Now they can be very intentional right away in free agency with what they're going out to get. So huge, huge news this morning.
Let's talk about that from a little bit from the Poile perspective, because there was some thoughts that maybe Poile was frustrated with Forsberg in the negotiations. Obviously, we had a pretty good indication that Forsberg was frustrated with where the Preds were.
Right.
You heard a lot of people say they're surprised it was dragging on this long. They thought, I believe it was Pierre LeBrun last week, I could be wrong. They said he felt like they were close to a deal, but there's still like some bitter feelings there.
Right. Right.
Is this, is this deal, now that it's done, is it a feeling more of relief that, okay, it's done, whatever, or is it more of it's done, but neither side really feels exactly thrilled with how this all played out?
I don't know. And I think that's a really important question. I think the Predators have said that they're going to do the official announcement. He has sort of framed a very distinct narrative through this process. And I think it will be very important to hear sort of what his final take is on how he was feeling and how the team was feeling when this was done. And the same thing for Filip Forsberg. This could not have been an easy deal to walk through with Filip Forsberg. This has dragged on a while. This has taken some time. And I think Forsberg's group felt like he was in a pretty strong position negotiating wise. So I think it's going to be very interesting to listen to the language that they use around this official announcement and around any sort of press that Forsberg and Poile do. But the most important thing is if these two sides can put this behind them and move forward in a positive way, this is huge.
Yeah, obviously, I think both sides know that it's a business. Obviously, we saw some very tense feelings a while back when Shea Weber was going through his contract deal that wound up taking 3 seasons. So, I think there's probably, they're going to be on the right track. Obviously Weber made up. I'm sure it's a very unhappy part of the business. I do think there's got to be some relief there from both sides. It's like, okay, it's done. It wasn't fun. Maybe we're not exactly where either of us wanted to be, but it's done. It's locked in. Forsberg knows he's going to be in Nashville. He can go out and enjoy his bachelor party, which I'm sure he is. That was the other party.
Post your Venmo, Phil, because you will not have to pay for a drink all weekend long, my friend.
Do you think that here's the scene I picture. They're all hyped in their Airbnb or whatever, and they hear a knock on the door. And, they're just like, oh, who's here? And they open the door, and it's David Poile in like a sexy police outfit being like,
oh my gosh.
here's the no movement clause you wanted, Phil. and then just hits like gold on the ceiling on his
Oh
little
my gosh.
handheld jukebox, and everybody just dance parties until the night.
That is the stuff of nightmares, my friend. That is the stuff of nightmares. But let's get the contract to him, maybe in a less visually offensive way, and get it signed.
I don't know. I feel like that's what
I
happened.
feel like I need a drink after that.
Let's see. Well, there we go.
Drink to that one.
I'll drink to David Poile in a sexy police costume.
Oh gosh. Now this wasn't the only Predators Nashville related news that kind of leaked out today. And this is huge. It is not a done deal yet, but it looks like Nashville may be hosting the 2023 NHL draft, which would be amazing.
Yeah. We are going to be that was announced by Frank Saravalli, by the way.
Yes.
Who tweeted that Nashville is the front runner. So nothing official yet. I'm sure something will be announced later this summer if it does become official. Yeah, it would be 20 years after the 2003 draft, which is the last one Nashville hosted, which a lot of people think may be one of the best drafts top to bottom of this generation of hockey. And it's kind of funny because you hear people talk about next year's draft, and a lot of people think that might be one of the best drafts of this generation too. So that would be an absolute fun moment for Nashville. Again, we hope it happens. You know, I know our buddy Eric Dene would be all over that in a heartbeat if that happens. I know you and I would maybe go down and do some live shows. What a fun day for Predators fans.
This is a great day, and I love that it happened on July 9th. So this is happy Filip Forsberg Signs Day. Everybody go out and do much rejoicing today.
Yeah. One last cheers for the road, Anne.
Yes, absolutely. To Filip Forsberg, baby.
To Filip Forsberg. Oh. So we will have much more on this next week. That kind of stings.
Ooh, yeah, a little.
Yeah. We'll have much more on this. We'll have a new episode Monday morning, of course, with more reaction to Filip Forsberg's news. We expect there might be some kind of press conference or statements coming out here when Filip Forsberg is not living his best life at his bachelor party. Hey, and also NHL draft was, yesterday.
Great. Yes.
More picks on that. Luke Cunnin is traded. So there is a lot of stuff to get to, and we will break it down all Monday morning on the next edition of the Locked On Predators podcast. That is going to do it for this special edition, though. And where can the people find your work online?
You can find my work at ontheforecheck.com, and you can find me on Twitter at @AnnK_Mama on Ice.
I'm Nick Moore. You can find my work at ontheforecheck.com. Follow me on Twitter at _NSMorgan. And while you're there, follow the show on Twitter at LO_Predators. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know what you think of the Filip Forsberg saga and his new contract. That's going to do it for this special edition of Locked On Predators. We will be back Monday with a full new episode. We'll see you then, guys. Cheers.